Hello everyone, my name is H2Acon and today I'm here with the second episode in our new series Character Case Files. Now, although not all games are based around real events, like Assassin's Creed, that doesn't mean that the characters' stories are any less impressive or meaningful. This series will hopefully allow me to share with you all the backstories of the great fictional characters in gaming. In future, I may branch out to covering characters from other franchises, however for now I'm mostly going to be focusing on characters from the Halo universe. So last episode we took a gander at the eventful life of the original hero of Halo, John 117. I realised whilst doing my research for that episode that one name came up rather a lot. Indeed, it seems to be next to impossible to talk about any of the Spartans without also mentioning her. She is featured heavily in many of the Halo books and even in some of the more recent games. I am of course referring to none other than Dr. Catherine Elizabeth Halsey. Halsey was born on March 19, 2492 in the city Port Vernon on the colony world Endymion. According to her, she showed herself to be a genius from a young age, far surpassing both her parents in intelligence. This is actually most likely true, as in 2507, aged just 15, she wrote her PhD thesis on archaic line commands, emergency failsafes for use in AIs. This is made even more impressive by the fact that this was actually her second doctorate. She had already got a medical degree. Her knowledge of the inner workings of AIs and the secret passcodes to manipulate them came in useful to her many times throughout the years. In 2510, aged 18, Halsey moved to the colony world Reach, and in August that year she bought a small hardback journal, which she went on to use for the next 42 years. She filled it with research notes, illustrations, and some of her inner thoughts and feelings. In 2515, aged 23, she was taken on by the Office of Naval Intelligence, ONI, as a scientific advisor, given the designation Civilian Consultant 409871. In 2491, in response to the growing threat of insurrectionism in the outer colony worlds, the UNSC had initiated the Orion Project, an intense training program for a select group of Special Forces personnel that also included some basic biochemical augmentations. The success of the Orion subjects in the field prompted Halsey to devise a new project to continue where Orion had left off following its deactivation in 2506. Halsey's proposition for Orion Project Generation 2, later renamed to the Spartan II program, was given the go-ahead by the High Command in 2517. Although she had requested funding to train 300 subjects, she was only given funds sufficient for 150, and this was then later cut down to 75, whilst the selection process was underway. Halsey planned for this successor to the Orion project to go much further. Too far. The 75 candidates were all inducted to the program at the age of 6. They were abducted from their families and taken to Reach, where they would receive their training at the hands of Chief Petty Officer Franklin Mendez. The children were brainwashed into believing that it was their duty to serve, and in time none of them questioned their being in the program. The candidates were trained in an isolated boot camp for 8 years with no contact to the outside world, and any escape attempts in the early days were swiftly shut down and brutally punished. In almost all cases the child was replaced by a flash-grown clone, despite human cloning being illegal, who died shortly after due to an orchestrated metabolic breakdown. This was essentially a cover-up of the abductions. At the age of 14, in 2525, the 75 Spartan children went in for biomechanical augmentations. These were a series of high-risk operations designed to make the Spartans bigger, stronger, and better at their job. 30 of the 75 candidates were killed by the extreme physical and mental stress of the process. Another 12 were disabled for life. The 33 that survived, however, became the most effective super soldiers that humanity had ever seen, Spartan IIs. Equipped with the Mark IV Mjolnir power armor, Halsey's own design, the Spartan IIs immediately proved themselves supremely effective at eliminating high-value rebel targets, contributing massively to the war effort. Halsey had become the closest thing the 33 remaining Spartan IIs had to a mother. She knew each of their ways better than anyone else, and was able to distinguish them from one another even whilst they were fully outfitted in armor, something even their fellow Spartan IIs struggled to do. They were all devoted to her, which is pretty twisted if you think about how they were all kidnapped and forced to be there against their own will. Regardless of her relationship with her Spartans, in 2525 Halsey became an actual mother. Lieutenant Jacob Keyes, later captain of the Pillar of Autumn, had been assigned by Oni to assist Halsey with the selection and abduction of the Spartan children. Halsey and Keyes had a brief romantic relationship during the early 2520s, which resulted in the birth of a baby girl. Before long, however, the pair had split up, and finally in 2531, Keyes took over custody of the child at Halsey's request. That little girl grew up to be Captain Miranda Keyes. After the completion of the Spartan II program, Halsey continued working for ONI, having been promoted to chief scientist back in 2522. She explored the possibility of undertaking another Spartan project, however she scrapped the idea due to the lack of candidates that fitted the genetic standards of the Spartan II program. Years later, however, a Spartan III program would be created, although Halsey was kept in the dark as to its existence. During the next few decades, she continued her involvement with both research into the Forerunners and AI development. Smart AIs are created by mapping the neural pathways of the brain of a deceased organ donor. Halsey, however, created an AI construct known as Kalmaya in 2537, using a brain taken from a flash-grown clone of herself, once again using illegal cloning as a method to achieve her own ends. In 2544, Halsey was captured by the Covenant during the Battle of Miradem. Due to her value to the UNSC, a team of Spartan IIs were deployed to rescue her. Following an energy sword duel with a Sangheili Major, Spartan John 117 was able to liberate Halsey, and then the other Spartans covered their exfiltration in a stolen Seraph fighter. Spartan Solomon 089 and Arthur 079 were both killed during the mission. Halsey was stationed on the colony world Reach when it was attacked by the Covenant in 2552. Using decryption codes delivered to her by Noble Team, she was able to decipher data stored in a Forerunner artifact beneath Oni's sword base, with assistance from the smart AI Cortana. Cortana had been created by Halsey in 2549, again using the illegal cloning process. The information, which later transpired to be the location of Halo Installation 04, was uploaded into Cortana, who Halsey gave to the remnants of Noble Team to escort to the UNSC cruiser Pillar of Autumn. Halsey was escorted to Castle Base by Spartan III June A266, where she proceeded to initiate Operation White Glove, a systematic destruction of information and technological assets to prevent them falling into Covenant hands. Whilst going through all the classified information in the base, she discovered several files containing information that had been withheld from her by her biggest rival in ONI, Colonel James Ackerson. Facing a large Covenant force, Halsey and the group of Spartan IIs that were with her retreated down into the mine shafts beneath the base. Before leaving, Halsey triggered Castle Base's self-destruct sequence and activated the failsafe in Kalmaya, destroying the AI. After several days in the tunnels, Halsey and the remainder of the Spartans were rescued by John 117 on his return to Reach following the Battle of Installation 04. One of the classified files that Halsey had uncovered in Castle Base was an ONI report revealing that the planet Onyx was in fact a Forerunner shield world, like Requiem from Halo 4 or Shield 0459 from Halo Wars. Recently, she had begun to feel increasingly guilty for her past actions, i.e. the kidnap and brainwashing of children, and she decided to try and make amends by keeping the rest of her Spartans alive. To this end, Halsey quietly sedated Kelly 087 and slipped away with her on a stolen vessel as the rest of the group escaped Reach and went back to Earth. She headed to Onyx, where she hoped to be able to gain access to the inner planet, thus fully protected from the Covenant. Upon arriving, she met up with Spartan II Kurt 051 and Chief Mendez, who had been training the third company of Spartan IIIs on Onyx. The Sentinels who guarded the shield world had been activated when Halo Installation 04 was destroyed, and they treated the humans as a threat, attacking and killing all they could catch. Halsey was able to send a message back to Earth requesting that a team of Spartan IIs be dispatched to aid in the recovery of Forerunner technological assets. This was of course merely a ruse to get more of her Spartans to safety within Onyx. Spartans Frederick 104, Linda 058 and Will 043 were sent, and they arrived just in time before a Sangheili fleet appeared. Halsey, Mendez and the mixed team of Spartan IIs and IIIs were able to fight their way past Sentinels and Covenant to enter the shield world. Will 043 and Kurt 051 were both killed in the fighting, alongside multiple Spartan IIIs. After spending several days inside the shield world, they were found by the UNSC. Halsey was arrested for theft of military assets, i.e. the Spartans, and incarcerated. Fortunately for her, she had indeed discovered several Forerunner assets whilst inside, so she was kept alive and put to work on installing many Forerunner prototypes in the UNSC's new flagship, the UNSC Infinity. This brings us up to the events of Halo 4's Spartan Ops in 2557. I'm going to quickly skim through what happened since I know that there are some people who never did get around to playing some of the final episodes. Halsey was taken to the UNSC Infinity in orbit around Requiem to study a recovered Forerunner artifact. The UNSC were unable to keep hold of their prisoner, however, as a Promethean attack snatched her from their grasp and took her down to Requiem, where Julum Dharma, the leader of the Covenant forces and her newfound ally, was waiting. Spartan IV Sarah Palmer had been sent to assassinate Halsey to prevent her from further aiding the enemy, but she was unable to complete her mission as Dharma took Halsey and fled the Shield World. The knowledge that the UNSC wanted her dead, proved by the gunshot wound she had acquired in her left shoulder, finally convinced Halsey to abandon humanity and throw her lot in with Dharma. So there you have it. Halsey is still very much alive and swearing revenge on those who imprisoned and tried to kill her. She is almost certain to make an appearance in Halo 5, not least due to the complex relationship between her and John 117. Halsey is a war criminal, guilty of abduction, brainwashing, legal cloning and theft of military assets. However, her actions may well have saved the human race from extinction. This is why I personally find her to be such an interesting character, and so I hope that this video sheds some light on the sides of her you may not have seen before, thus allowing you to also grasp the complexities of her story. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've been H2Econ, and I'll see you next time on Character Case Files.